Hey, what's happening? It is April 12th, 2022, and it is the Horror Syndicate's birthday. And I'm very excited about that because I started. So let me tell this story real fast. I know. I tell a lot of stories. I talk a lot, whatever. The Horror Syndicate started because I was in a horror group that I can't even remember the name of at this point. I got kicked out of it for doing brackets. We do the March Madness. Movies go up against each other. You vote on them, all that stuff. And I got kicked out. I got the admin's permission to do it, but they kicked me out because they're like, it's taken away from the actual content. I'm like, cool. So they kicked me out. But before I left, I was like, I posted, I'm starting a horror website. Who's coming with me? And a few people friend requested me, didn't join the group or join the team. But Jared Letourneau was the very first one who said, I'd like to write for you. I did some writing in high school, and I think I could do it. I'm like, absolutely. And that's how me and Jared's friendship began. We were in some kind of, I think it was a horror movie, Blu-ray, DVD trading group or some shit like that. But that was the birth of the Horror Syndicate. Then Morgan came aboard right after Jared. She was 19 years old. And hey, buddy, I hope you're wearing your Horror Syndicate shirt. And it just kind of snowballed from there. I met Brian and a few other people. Eventually, we met Ray Canella through Brian, did a podcast called The Horror Syndicate Live. And then we did The Horror Syndicate Lives after that, after we got rid of Baron Craze and Ray left. And Morgan, unfortunately, wasn't on there. It was just me, Brian, Jared, and Mike Lombardo, who directed I'm Dreaming of White Doomsday. And Nathan, who is a part of the show now, actually was a guest a couple of times when we did Elm Street segments. And I think maybe even a Friday the 13th one. I can't remember if that's right. Nate, do you remember? Was that, hey, awesome. Did you do a Friday the 13th show in that old one with us? Do you remember?
I don't think so. I think you had me on just as a guest about my work and maybe confession. I don't remember.
That's probably.
I remember doing a show with. I remember doing a show with Vince and Renee about fan films. That was before I was part of the show. I don't know how it happened. I think you had me on about something. You said, "Hey, you're welcome to come back next week," and it was around COVID, and I ain't shit to do. All right.
Right. We did 2 shows a week when we started Discourse.
What's up, Alex?
Free Masters, my favorite. I love you. If that's your favorite of the series, I think it's mine too. Well, the first one's my favorite. We're gonna get into some Dream Master shortly, as when Seth comes back. He disappeared. But anyway, Nathan, do you remember when we showed your movie Never Hike Alone and was Spirit of Haddonfield all back to back on our Facebook page? So I think that was right around the same time you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you have not seen The Confession of Fred Krueger, it's on YouTube. Check it out after this because it's damn good. I mean, first of all, Nate's a fine filmmaker. He's a really good filmmaker. I'm looking forward to seeing his new movie, On a Dark and Bloody Ground. I just got a message. I wonder if it's Seth. He just lost his internet.
I also got to throw out that it's my sister's. It's my sister's birthday today as well. Krista Milliner or Hyatt. Krista Hyatt. Jeez. Happy birthday, Krista. I know you're not watching.
Maybe she will one day. Who knows?
We're all frozen.
So Seth is gone for the moment. His internet dropped. Happy birthday. Was it Krista or Kristin?
Krista.
Okay, happy birthday. Also, we got bad news. A little bit of bad news we want to share. Jared brought this. Jared is here, kind of. But Gilbert Gottfried passed away today. And who didn't love this guy? He had one of the most unique voices of all time. I remember from Problem Child, USA Up All Night, things like that. Nate, what about you? What do you remember him from?
Yeah, I remember. I think maybe the first time I saw Gilbert, if it wasn't Up All Night, it was in Beverly Hills Cop 2, where he played Sidney Bernstein, the lawyer, and he's like, I just love that part where he's like, "That's my wife's car." No, bitch. He just picks up the phone. Forget bitch.
That? Yeah, I'm glad you shared that. You shared that in the chat. Oh God.
And he's trying to bribe him. Is there something I could, because he had parking tickets, like, can I put something in that hand, and then you think, what was in that hand? I forget. Yeah.
It's a shame I didn't know he was sick. Yeah, Andrew Dice
Yeah,
Clay.
I don't know if he talked about it or not. There's a documentary called Gilbert that's streaming on Pluto and Peacock. If anybody wants to check it out, it was really good, really personal documentary about his life and his current life at the time.
I plan on watching that. I wasn't like a huge fan because I watched, like I said, my exposure was USA Up All Night. Who here watched USA Up All Night with him or Rhonda Shear? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments. That's a lot of the ways I got my horror education. I didn't have TNT to see Joe Bob.
Did you ever see that movie, The Aristocrat?
I don't think so.
It's a documentary about this dirty joke that comedians tell, and they try to outdo each other. So it's got everybody on there. It's a documentary just called The Aristocrats, and Gilbert blows everybody away with his joke. It's like legendary. Yeah. Very dirty. Don't let the kids watch. I mean,
that's one of the things I wish I would have gone. Is he frequented in St. Louis, and like there's a radio station here, 105.7 The Point, and they'd have him on like every time he'd come to town. And it's like, man, well, I should go see him live, and I never really did. And I kind of regret not being able to go do that. Well, I was able to, but I just didn't go. So just like when I saw George Romero for the first time, he was all by himself, but I didn't go. Okay. Seth is back, my dear friend Seth, and Jared, the beautiful hair man, Laterno.
Hello.
Jared, I was telling them that, first of all, happy birthday to you two, because it's the Horror Syndicate's birthday, and we built this together.
Woohoo!
I was telling them that you were the first person to reach out to me and how much I love you.
Oh, yeah. I remember it. It was a cloudy day that day, and I was feeling really bored.
Oh, that's how it happened. God damn it.
No, it's just one of those things where you're like, hey, I'm kind of feeling very comfortable with what I'm doing in life. Let's try something else. And I wanted to write some articles for a horror website, and that's when I reached out to you.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, man, because it not only, you didn't only help the site, but, man, you became a good friend. You were there for me when my wife passed away, and you've been a good friend ever since. And I've been a good friend to you ever since you dropped that tuna melt on the ground, and I told you, go get another one.
I know. It's still Lent. I got another Friday left.
All right, so, Seth, how's the internet treating you?
It's fine for now.
Well, you seem clear, ready to go. If you don't know, we have a YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook watching, go to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button for us. If you don't know and you're on YouTube watching, we have a Facebook page. Go like the Facebook page. Today, I guess because it's the anniversary, I wanted to do something kind of special. We kicked around a few ideas. And then last week I was like, let's do Elm Street. I love Elm Street. We haven't done a full episode on Elm Street. We've only done we've done a list, I think, and we did the commentary. So, and one of you two, Nate or Seth's like, well, why don't we do 4? And I'm like, fuck yes, let's do 4. Because that's, here's a rank. Yeah, rank your Elm Street movies. 4, 1, 6. Whoa, Freddy's Dead's that high? Interesting. Where's New Nightmare and the remake? Did I share this one yet?
He's a New World Disorder. He doesn't want to play with rules.
Obviously, he wants to watch the world burn. Yeah, I do. I wonder if it was. That's something I want to get into. Is why Patricia Arquette didn't return. We'll get into that. But first,
let's call her up.
Once again, we're talking about Dream Master, and it is my personal favorite, at least sequel, because Elm Street's my favorite horror movie. I'm gonna talk for a second, and I'm going to go around the table, acting like there's a table here, about like my experience. I saw Dream Warriors in the theater. It was the first one I saw in the theater in '87. Snuck in. Supposed to seem like Crocodile Dundee or some shit. And I snuck in. I watched Dream Warriors. It was so cool, and I was like excited. I knew there would be another one, and saw the poster and then a trailer, and I started coming up with all these fan theories in my head. And one of my favorite shots in the trailer that I remember from when I was a kid was Debbie with the cockroach arms. And I'm like, what is that? And Kincaid in the junkyard. I was 8 years old and stoked. And this movie fucking delivered for me. Nate, let me hear. I know Seth is a giant fan of this one. He loves it almost as much as I do. Nate, I think Is this your second favorite? Where does this one rank for you? Do you remember?
This is my third favorite.
After
the first in Dream Warriors.
Oh, come on, Dream Warriors. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about your.
I know it makes me really. I'm one of those really odd people that likes the third movie.
Yeah,
I can't help it. I can't. I will defend. I don't remember the how it all happened, but that was the year that I became a horror fan. Was '88, and I don't remember if I saw 2 and 3. I think I did see 2 and 3 first. It premiered when Dream Warriors premiered on cable. I decided I want to watch these movies, and yeah, so I watched 2 and 3 the night that Dream Warriors premiered, and all the TV spots for Part 4 were on the TV, and I knew Nightmare on Elm Street. I was 8 when the first one came out, so I remember the TV spots for the original and everything, and but I was too afraid to watch them. And then so finally, 12 years old, 1988, I watched the second and third. So I want to go see the fourth. There's a guy at school. I was in 6th grade, and he was really into horror too and Freddy. So we decided to go see it. So my dad, not thinking much, just drops us off the movie theater. Of course, 2 12-year-olds walk up wanting tickets to Nightmare on Elm Street 4. And we can't sell you those tickets. It's a rated R film. So now I have to call my dad. He has to come back up there, take us to the next screening. And the things I remember, I remember there was a Hellraiser Hellbound cardboard standee in the lobby. I remember that. But this was my first horror movie in the theater, and so it was a big deal. I had just so new to horror, really, because I'd seen stuff like Cujo, Poltergeist, stuff like that. Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller. So I knew a little bit, but this is when I was really just starting to dig my fingers into the genre. And so to go to a movie theater and see a Freddy Krueger movie, and it was such a cool one, it was a real fun one. It was the MTV one. It was all over MTV. Absolutely. I had the MTV had a special with Robert with Kevin Seal, one of the VJs. It was like an hour where Robert was hosting videos, and he was in the Freddy makeup. I had that on tape. I watched that all the time, where they played like Alice Cooper and Bark at the Moon and all the Dream Warriors, all that shit. And so I used to watch that, and they would have clips from Dream Master on it, I think his resurrection scene was on there, and a few others. But yeah, I just loved this film. It was my. And then that night, I spent the night at Wesley's. The guy's name was Wesley, and we rented the original. So I got to see the original on the same day, right after this one, after seeing this.
So wait, did you see this one first out of all of them? Really?
No, I saw 2 and 3 first on cable. And then shortly after, went and saw this at the theater, and that night rented the original and watched it. And what was the Kirk Cameron Dudley Moore movie? Like Father, Like Son. We rented those two.
I remember that movie.
Also,
that's what I was thinking of too.
It was a good day because also that was the day that I was introduced to the X-Men and Wolverine, because I didn't know who they were. And he was deep in the X-Men. So the first thing I ever saw of Wolverine was the cover Mark Silvestri did, where Wolverine's possessed by the Brood or whatever. He's on the ground, turning into one of the Brood.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, so I saw the first Elm Street, the fourth Elm Street, and discovered Wolverine and the X-Men on that night, that day.
That's a good day, man. Yeah. That's a great day. Jesus. All right, Sethy Poo, talk to me about your experience.
Well, I'm not as old as you two. I'm not as old as you two, so I didn't see it in the theater. I saw on VHS. I borrowed all my friend. My friend had the complete collection on VHS, and actually, I have it now. He gave it to me. But
lucky.
I used to borrow them from him all the time. And to be honest with you, the first time I saw Dream Master, I didn't quite like it as much because I watched it immediately after Part 3, and I was, kind of attached to the surviving characters. And so, and one of my pet peeves in movies is, in a sequel when they kill someone off who survived one movie pretty early on in the next. So it took another couple of viewings, but like it was one that I found that I kept going back to. It was, it was the one that I always wanted to watch because it is fun. It's visually awesome. Rennie Harlan, I don't care what you say about him. He directed the hell out of that movie. The camera angles
last week. Yeah.
Yeah. The colors, the makeup effects, just it's pretty damn good.
It's better than good. I love it.
It's better than good. Yeah.
I think you and I have been friends for a couple years now and everything, but I think this was one of those movies that we absolutely bonded over too. Our love for this and our love for Lisa Wilcox. Amber, if you're listening.
Man, I love this movie. Like it's it sucks to have to rank stuff because I do really love those first 4 movies like unconditionally.
Yeah.
Like every inch of them.
I do too. Hopefully that doesn't get us shut down, Nate.
My Donna, that's stock. It's stock music, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Jared, man, we missed you.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks.
That's okay. Glad you're here. Do you have? I know you're not a huge Elm Street guy, but what about you? Do you remember? Like we grew up, like all of us, Seth, regardless of how old we are. We all grew up in the 80s, and the 80s were absolute great time to be a kid and get into horror. Whether it's Jason or fucking Chopping Mall or whatever. There's so many good things from the 80s. And I know you love 80s horror. Tell me about why you don't like Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm joking. I know you like Elm Street. But tell me about. Do you remember back then when you saw it, how you felt? Like Freddy was huge back then,
Yeah. I mean, I was a little too young, so I never saw it in the theater or anything, but it was definitely one of those like Friday night marathons where I ordered a couple of them at my local. We didn't have a Blockbuster where I lived. It was called Video Trend, but it was one of those nights where I ordered a couple of them, and I had always seen the first one first, and kind of like with Seth, the first time I watched it, I was not a big fan because you get so invested with the characters in part 3.
Yeah.
And then, spoiler alert, the remaining characters all get killed off in the first 25 minutes of the movie. So you get left off with, something that's going to carry on the torch forward. I do remember a funny anecdote about that movie. Alice's older brother, Andras Jones. The first thing I ever saw him in was an episode of Saved by the Bell where he played a bully.
He was in Saved by the Bell?
Yeah, he was.
I had no idea.
It was the Miss Bliss, the first season, I think.
Yeah.
And he played a bully that couldn't read or write, and Zach felt sorry for him because he wanted to beat up Screech, and Screech all he wanted to do was help him. And he's like, I can't read good. But that was my first experience with that guy. But his acting was standing. Like, I was not a fan of his character. He was oof. Oh man, he was so over the top in that movie. Still to this day, I watched it again just this morning. Like, his acting in that movie was god awful, but I love the movie. It still holds up as as one of the best sequels of the franchise, in my opinion. But oof.
Plus, he had a shitty death scene, in my opinion, one of the worst ones in the whole series. I think we could probably all agree on that. What was it? They ran out of time and money or something like that.
Ran out of money. Yeah. It's kind of like just off the fly.
It never bothered me as a kid, but after watching, if you haven't seen Never Sleep Again, it's one of the best. It's the best Elm Street documentary there is. One of the best, in my opinion. Period. There's couples together with the Friday the 13th Crystal Lake Memories.
Crystal Lake Memories. Yeah.
So go through some of these comments real fast. 80s. Yeah. Just name a bunch of great 80s movies. Night of the Demons. Yeah. Part 1. Part 2 is good too. That came out in 94. I don't remember that Saved by the Bell episode, but I should watch it. Ken Sagos, he was on the show a couple years ago. He's a great guest too. Check that out. It's on our YouTube channel. All right. So we're going to talk about it now. We're going to get into the movie as we like to do. get our scalpels out, start dissecting Elm Street 4 a little bit. And I think we all are well aware that it's not the greatest movie ever. I mean, it's a 80s slasher. I never thought of Freddy as a slasher, but I guess. So let's get into it. I want Nate, I'm sure you have some notes. Tell us stuff about it. On the spot.
Well, something Seth touched on. This movie looks beautiful.
It does. Yeah.
It's a beautifully photographed, art directed, and directed film. It's arguably the best looking film in the series. The lighting, and again the art direction. The Straughns did such a good job on 3 and 4 with their art direction. Like a lot of the Nightmare movies started to look false, phony. Like if you look at like part 2, a lot of the sets look fake. Nothing looks fake in this movie, even though some of it's surreal. When you get into like Alice's bedroom or
Joey's bedroom.
Yeah,
like at the waterbed. Yeah.
Yeah, they all look like real places. They don't look like sets. They're very meticulously done and very well done. And of course, I know they had a lot more money probably, but the art direction is fantastic. The way it's lit, there's a lot of crushed blacks. And just the set designs. The auto yard and the cathedral, and there's so many really cool sets.
The cathedral set is really cool.
But it is just all around artistically. Nightmare on Elm Street had some of the best visual filmmakers of the big slasher franchises. You had Stephen Hopkins, where, whether you like Dream Child or not, there's some really creative.
He came from an art background.
Yeah,
too.
He's an artist,
Yeah.
so there's like a lot of creativity in the choices he makes in that movie. Same with, again, part 3 had Straughns doing art direction and some great sets in that movie as well.
What the fuck?
Really, 3 and 4 to me defined what Elm Street would be remembered as far as visually, because it started the whole because the first 2 movies are really kind of based in reality. Most of the sets are real world suburbia type sets, but other than the boiler room, nothing feels too foreign. But in part 3 and 4, we start entering real nightmarish places. Very, just dreamlike. So I could throw that out first. It's a beautifully shot film. Art direction is great.
That comment. Yeah.
I 100% with that comment.
It does not deserve the hate. No, Tuesday doesn't. No. Tuesday's good in it. She's totally different than Patricia Arquette as far as everything.
I prefer her.
I don't like Tuesday because I think Patricia's fucking fantastic too, but they're so different. But I think Tuesday does really good in the film as Kristin.
She's got something about her eyes are very haunting in this movie. Like Patricia Arquette had a look that she looked kind of haunting, and I think when they saw Tuesday Night, I don't know if this is true, but there's something about her eyes. I'm very drawn to her eyes in that movie.
Tuesday's a bit stronger, and I don't know if that's a choice because Kristin would be stronger in this movie than she was in the first one.
Why would she be?
But she's totally stronger. Right. This is that great line when she talks to her mother after she's been drugged and says, "No, you just murdered me. Take that to your goddamn therapy." Like that was a great moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I agree with that. Tuesday's very underrated.
Yes, Nightmare. Tuesday Night sang that song. I love that song.
That Nightmare song is this soundtrack all around is the best. Even
it's legit on my playlist on my phone.
Yeah, the
Vinnie Vincent,
the needle drop songs and the score. I love the score for this movie.
It's one of the strongest in the series, in my opinion. See, I don't think people take some of that into account when they think about this movie. I did this thing called Hot Take Horror that I've been trying to get back to doing, and reading comments from Facebook. Like I asked, what do you think of the Dream Master? And I read some of the comments, and the one-liner thing keeps coming up. I was like, that's not the only movie. It's not where it began with them. If that's your chief complaint about the movie, then I think people need to watch it and consume the whole movie, because the score is fantastic. The needle drop songs, like you said, and I think this might have been Robert's second best performance in the series because you can't match the first one, in my opinion.
I was going to say the one-liners started in the second one.
I mean, did they?
He's in the first
one too.
First one, I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. I mean,
yeah.
I think the one-liners kind of like escalated with the third film.
I agree with that.
And
yeah,
I honestly think that you take away that 2 seconds of Freddy putting on the fucking sunglasses, the humor is about on par with the way it was. Yeah,
he had it.
I'm not taking that away. Yeah,
well,
he's got it on his shirt. We're not taking that away.
Yeah, everyone remembers that, and
right.
I think
it's the only campy moment in the movie.
But like the thing about it's a fucking nightmare. It's a dream. Like Freddy controls he controls it, right? Why wouldn't he's like in the sun? Why not? We never see him in a situation like that really in the daytime. Put some sunglasses on, bro.
I just don't know why they ever did a dream sequence where he was putting sunblock on his burns.
Apparently there was a deleted scene, I think, where Freddy's shadow is cast on her and she's starting to burn. Like it's burning her skin or his shadow in that beach scene. I was reading that last night. I don't know if that was just from the script. I don't think they shot it. Cool.
Hey, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think my internet's about to drop out.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, I think it's just the Wi-Fi because I have it connected right into the.
But I like what Seth said about Rennie Harlan directing his ass off in this. It's true. The guy they didn't really have a strong, finished, complete script, so they're really just making this up as they go. And the fact that it's coherent at all and works and did so well and was I think it was the best rated from critics at the time Nightmare movie, if I remember right. I know
it was
made
also
more
highest
money.
grossing, I believe, wasn't it?
At the time, it was the highest gross, but I think a lot of that's due to Dream Warriors' popularity. But
that could be.
Yeah, and because it was getting more commercialized. I mean, it was again all over MTV and everything. But a lot of that's probably also because of Dream Warriors' success and the whole docking thing. And they made some good. They did some good decisions with Dream Warriors that trickled down to Dream Master.
Yeah, I mean that's why I was telling somebody. They kind of are a good pair. You can't watch one without the other, in my opinion. You can, but if you want to watch 3 and then watch 4 because they are a pair. And I even said with Dream Child, it's almost like a little trilogy of sorts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you on this. I really hate seeing this movie get as much hate as it does. I don't understand it. I know a friend of mine, Frankie, says this was where the series really went south. I disagree. I think it was the next one, Dream Child, which I do like. I like them all. I like all the Freddy movies. Yeah. So
this one does get a lot of hate, but I will say that I do have Amazon reviews. And
you didn't tell me. I'm excited.
Dun, dun, dun.
Here we go.
And again,
I gotta make a graphic for this, Nate.
The negative reviews are very few. It's 2% 1 star, 2% 2 star, 75% 5 stars. So
all right, well, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All right, let's see what I got. Okay, I got pulled up on my phone here. Okay. I know from the letters written the front of Fangoria in '88 that a lot of people do like Part 4. But then I remembered that a lot of people like dope, alcohol abuse, sexual mutilation, child molestation, and crack cocaine.
Come on.
Good.
Okay. This one's simple. Right. 1 star, poopy.
Poopy?
Yeah.
Come on.
That's all we had to say.
That's what I said. All right. This one is 1 star. What? If I really wanted to, I could take a dump on film and it would be better than this.
What the hell?
That is a dude that thinks his shit don't stink.
Yeah, this is a funny.
True.
This is just a funny title. This is a 3-star review, but the stars. Too bad they didn't hire a dialogue master.
Oh.
some dialogue is bad in the movie, but
Yeah, it's a low budget horror movie.
Belongs on the comedy shelf. This was the first of the horrible Nightmare on Elm Street sequels. First of all, Patricia Arquette did not return to reprise her role as Kristin. Second, Freddy was supposed to be scary. With all his wisecracking and stupid humor, he seems like a washed-up has-been comedian. Trust me on this one. Any Nightmare on Elm Street's after Part 3 is a waste of money. And I got one positive. I got one positive. It's funny. It's a 5-star review. This is terror beyond your wildest dreams. This is all caps. I love this movie. This one, I think, is the best. There are a couple of scenes I like the junkyard scene. The guy starts screaming, Freddy's back, and then he gets killed. I like when the girl is on the beach. Then the guy comes in the water, then goes up to the sandcastle, and then blows. This one is a must-see. Please see it. If you are a Freddy fan, it has great deaths. Everything is good about it. You must see this terrifying movie now. The special features on the DVD are theatrical trailer, cast and crew, jump to a nightmare menu. There is over 1 minute of special features. He says an exclamation mark. Over 1 minute of special features.
1 minute of special features. That's amazing. Good reviews, man. I almost forgot about those. I wish I would have remembered. I feel bad now. I'm gonna make a graphic of you, and you need to send me a picture and ham it up, okay?
Okay.
Because I want to make a graphic for every time we do this, Anyway, yeah, I don't get it either. I don't get why this movie's trolled so bad. Maybe it's because of the soul food pizza. I don't know.
Most of the negative reviews were people who were not like fans of Nightmare on Elm Street, and a lot of them said the same stuff. And a lot of them, I mean, the Nightmare movies, for some reason I've noticed, they don't, like, in general, they don't always get the respect that they deserve from like the Friday people and the Halloween people. And I'm like, I love all three of those. And I take shits on Friday sometimes, but it's not because I don't like them. It's not that I don't like them. It's because people hold them up with like the holy grail of horror.
They
and I'm
do,
like,
but this is better than 90% of the Friday the 13th series. You know what? I'm throwing down a gauntlet. I'm throwing down a challenge for you guys. Okay?
Oh, hell.
Not you, Jared. I know you won't do it, but that's fine.
Oh, hell.
I want you to take Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Elm Street and make a master list from like 33 to number 1. Can you do it?
I've done it before.
We've done
Do it again. Because I'm curious to see where everything falls. I love lists. Let's do it. I'll do it too. Jared, if you want to do it, please do, because I always want your opinion.
Do what now?
Okay, so take all the movies.
Yeah.
Okay, and make one giant list. So like it could be like Elm Street could be number 1. Friday the 13th Part 6 could be number 2, and then Halloween.
Do I think Dream Master is better than Halloween Resurrection?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Do I think it's better than Friday the 13th Part 5? No.
Yes. Oh, come on.
No. Is it better than Friday the 13th Part 6?
No.
No, it's not.
I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Yes,
there you go.
No, it's not. No.
Yes, it is.
Hate you guys sometimes.
This could be an interesting list, though.
Well, the one big thing to say about this film is, movies, people talk about like The Thing, and they talk about American Werewolf in London, they talk about this, but this movie is a all-star showcase of special effects artistry. You're talking about Steve Johnson, who fucking did Ghostbusters and shit. You got John Carl Buechler. You got
Berger.
Kevin Yeager, Howard Berger, Screaming Mad
George.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a who's who of effects in the 80s.
And just creative. And all those effects guys say if they were excited when they got a Nightmare movie because they got to be creative. They got to do some really crazy shit that the other movies didn't. Like, stab, decapitation, whatever. No, when you did a Freddy movie, you were going to get to test your skills and your creativity. And that's what it is. Like those movies, especially 3 and 4, where you got the snake and you got Debbie turned into a cockroach. And someone talked about the resurrection sucking. This is one of the best resurrections.
Oh my God.
Skeleton coming together and reforming and all that. forget how it starts. I mean, it's just a hellhound pissing. It was a joke.
It's a hellhound pissing, exactly. Yeah.
But the actual resurrection is incredible, and then that whole comic book kind of slow move up to his shadow, and you shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead. I mean, it's a fucking that again iconic moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
By that point, Freddy was a cultural icon, and that was an icon's introduction. And again, a comic book introduction, really. And then his death is the best death of any fucking slasher movie, in my opinion, ever, with the souls ripping him apart. Still one of the most incredible pieces of special effects work.
Lisa Wilcox.
So many things had to go into play with that.
Oh, I'll be right back.
I can't think of anything that tops it out of the slasher genre as far as a death. I mean, people like, Jason's death in part 4, which is great. It's gruesome. It's violent. But being ripped apart from the inside, just the intricacies of that, the performance that Robert had to do to pull that off, all those puppeteers, all that shit that went into that, it's incredible.
Yeah, my friend and I were talking about it last night when we were watching it, because it's like Freddy's death by looking into a mirror, seeing his reflection, that's blah, whatever. But what happens,
this real fast,
that whole big sequence is just incredible.
That 1988 piece.
Yeah, the 1988 piece. So we were talking about the end, and this just popped in my head because it's up on my son's wall. Not now, because I took it down. But yeah, like all the famous movies from '88, he kind of paid homage to the ending of Elm Street 4, which, in my opinion, like you were saying, I think it is the best ending of all of them. By the way, Reynolds loves this piece. He got mad at me just now. So anyway.
Even though, I mean, the reflection thing, if you've got your power, she's the Dream Master. It seems like she could manipulate what happens and what's powerful and what works. I mean, it's a rhyme, and she's making it a powerful weapon against Freddy Krueger. So I think it seems weird that he sees his reflection, because in part 3 we see him in all those mirrors. So but again, I think it's part of also Alice's power as the Dream Master to take something and make it a weapon out of it.
Do you think that she's more powerful than him, right? She is the Dream Master.
At that point, I'd say she is.
Yeah. So I think with her power over Freddy, that totally makes sense that she probably used anything, because she used that thing that Sheila made. She
made that something.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I don't know why. That's the other thing I hear about is the bad ending. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's a smorgasbord of effects. First of all,
it's a great, the music, the lift, the children's spirits thanking her and going out into the world like free. I mean, it's a religious ending, just like 3 was.
Yeah.
But it's a great ending, and it gives us a great intro to Dark Dream Child, where she pulls back into that cathedral, and it's the remnants of what's left of him, and then the rebirthing was one of the best parts of that movie.
Yeah,
that whole sequence at the beginning where he's and I love how deformed he is after coming back. His arm really long, and it's a boy. Yeah, that is probably like the best part of that movie. I do enjoy Dream Child quite a bit, but
we need to circle back to Seth.
Let's circle back to Seth.
Yes, please.
Let's give him the floor. What were you saying?
Well, we were talking about the effects, especially at the end, and I was saying that the idea of him seeing his reflection, like, it was okay, but I think what really made that work was the effects of him getting ripped apart by all the souls escaping him and stuff like that. And it's just, one of the 2 great sequences of effects in this movie, the other being Debbie turning into a cockroach, which is my favorite kill in the movie. Do you guys have a favorite kill?
Well, I that's probably the best kill. I really, other than Freddy's kill, I don't love the kill, but the set piece of the kills I love Kincaid's whole thing, even though the
Yeah.
death is quick and simple and easy. But the whole build up, that whole set piece of him is great. But I also love the set of the boiler room. This is probably my second favorite boiler room set after the original, of when Kristin faces him down and he's, Elm Street's last brat farewell, and the chains and swinging chains and the water.
Yeah, this scene here.
Yeah, it's a great scene. It's a little great. It's a Western standoff sequence.
Yeah.
You got your last good guy hero here against the big bad, and he wins. But it's a great set. I just love that set.
I think this is a little bit of the set too. You can see, I know it's for publicity still, but still. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm favorite kill. I mean, I think it would have to go along with sequence as well, because like this right here, her in that narrow ass hallway, you got the sticky trap shit. That is terrifying. But he just squeezes the box, so the kill itself isn't great. But the lead up, and that's the thing about the Elm Street kills. Like Kincaid's kills sucked. He just got stabbed in the gut, right?
Yeah.
Joey's kill is probably my favorite overall, because
Joey's just a great. That's such a great. Like, how's this for a wet dream?
I can't show that one because there's boobs, but
I mean, that's
we can show the after effect when he's like,
"How's this for a wet dream?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty creative kill.
Sheila's is really cool. I mean,
this movie's got the best of all of them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Shut up, phone. Sorry. How's this for a wet dream? I'm trying to find a good picture of it.
Because it kind of played into Joey's like obsession with the nurse in the previous movie too. So he's like, he's still obsessed with girls.
His weakness is women.
Yes.
That was another thing with this one too. Is I feel like this one kind of really played into the characters' their own personal fears, or in Sheila's case, her medical condition. A little bit more so than any of the previous ones, that maybe with the exception of Dream Warriors. But I don't know.
Yeah.
There was Alice saying earlier on in the movie that her greatest fear is working the diner her whole life.
Yeah.
And then there was there was another example too that I forgot about. But yeah, I just felt like it really kind of played into Debbie with the cockroaches, stuff like that. Just kind of really played into that angle, I think, a little bit better than some of the some of the other movies in the franchise.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with Rennie Harlan himself, because in Never Sleep Again, he talks about, I watched that right before the show, he talks about like he had all these nightmares in his head because of the writer's strike. They lost the writers basically when they were making the movie, and I don't know if it's true, but he says a lot of those nightmares came from him, which that Wanna Suck Face one is really gross, because Toy Newkirk says when Robert like lunged at her, his dentures fell into her mouth, which is really fucking gross if you think about it. The way she described it, she's like, it was all slimy and saliva everywhere, and probably what he had for lunch that day. Oh, gross. And she said it was her first on-screen kiss too. So that's a great one to have.
So we got genuine repulsion in that kiss.
Yeah, right. Her reaction was genuine for sure.
I always think it's interesting of the just the 10 of us connection to these films.
Yeah.
Where we have 3 of the daughters from that show in the series, with Brooke in this one, and Heather, of course, and what's her name? I met her too. This is part 2 on the bus.
Oh God. God, what was her name?
Jeanette.
Carrie?
Her name Jeanette.
I don't know her real name. I think it was Carrie in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street past the first movie. Okay, well, that's too bad. What does this say? Have we done this one? We have the Dream Master Nate did a few years back. Yeah, Nate, I hate that all those posters. I think I have the first one and maybe the third one. I don't have any of the other ones. Send me them. I'll send you the shirt that I keep forgetting about. This in a bag. You want this shirt?
these
Give me some art.
movies meant so much to me. I mean, I hate that people don't like them, but that's everybody's prerogative.
Yeah.
I was 12 years old. I was going through depression because I was being bullied, and I was failing in school, and I was gaining weight, and I was having stomach problems and headaches all the time from the anxiety. And I found Nightmare on Elm Street, and it became my thing. And it was years later that I realized what was I seeing in it. I don't know if I realized it at the time, but like especially Dream Warriors and this one, but Freddy, and in the first one, of course, Freddy represents the ultimate bully.
Yeah.
And these kids are banding together, finding their inner strength to stand up to him or to beat him. Like Nancy in the beginning, where Johnny's telling her, you turn your back on it, take away its power. I mean, that's what bullies crave. They live off of your fear. And if you show I'm not afraid of you anymore, which I did at that time. Let's see. I had a bully in my neighborhood about 4 or 5 years older than me, and he was bullying me all the time. And one day, like, he was in the front of my house, and he pushed me down, and I just got up and looked him in the eye, and he pushed me back down again. I got back up, looked him in the eye, and he just left me, and he never fucked with me again. But that's all I did was stand up and got up and looked him in the eye, like, you don't scare me, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And so,
were you Steve Rogers? I can do this all day.
I could do this all day, man. No, but I remember that, and I think what gave me the power is like one time he was doing it in front of my dad. He was bullying me, and my dad just stood there, and the guy got scared, and Dad's like, "If you think you can whip his ass, whip his ass." And the guy just like left because adult challenging him to whip his son's ass in front of him. But I think after that, I didn't mention that my dad was sitting on the porch when the guy pushed me down, and Dad didn't move. And I don't think he saw my dad up there. But yeah, I think that's what these films do. None of those other slashers have that theme of overcoming a bully, overcoming an evil that is controlling you and feeding off your fears. That's his fuel. That's how he gets power, and that's a very unique thing. And how he's collecting the souls when they introduce the whole chest, the souls on your chest, and that Nancy talks about how strong he's gotten since she fought him, and I mean it's a really unique thing of a villain that preys on children, and that's what really separates Freddy. Freddy is not a sympathetic character at all. He is the vilest of the vile of the slasher characters. Oh, yeah. I mean, Michael is just like, there's no rhyme or reason to what he does. He's just evil personified, driving force of evil. Jason is after revenge. He's a ghost. Being bullied. Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
So, but Freddy is, and I think that's why I'm like Freddy's versus Jason. Freddy's the real villain of that movie, and presented as the real villain because he's just a complete piece of shit. And I like that about it. And again, just so creative. They're just the most creative. You were gonna see some shit that you had never seen before when you walked into a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
That's why it's hard to lump them in with slashers, though, in my opinion, because they're very creative. The kills, everything about them is, I wonder if that's why I like them. So I never thought about. I mean, you've talked about the bullying aspect before, but I never thought about that. I mean, everybody. I think just about everybody was bullied at one point on this table. I don't think in real life like everybody was bullied, but like we were. I know we all were at one point. At some point. I mean, I bully Seth every day. So.
Yeah, now we don't have Keith to bully around anymore.
That's true. Okay, so anyway, is there anything else you want to say about that, Nate, before we move on to?
No, whatever we got next. Should we talk about cast?
Yeah, I think. Well, I want to mention again. We spoke with Lisa Wilcox, who plays Alice, it was 2 years ago, and we did talk about this movie a little bit with her. But yeah, let's talk about the cast because Actually, I'll throw them back up on the screen real fast. I think this has a really great cast, like overall. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
It's got your Breakfast Club cast, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
You got your nerds, you got your outcast, you got your jock, you got the weirdo who loves karate.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything because Lisa Wilcox is kind of a nerd, daydreaming girl. You got
She's very awkward and socially awkward.
The bodybuilder, and then you got the three hangovers or not hangovers. What do you rollovers? I don't know what to call them. The three from the last movie. It's a strong cast. It's too. It is. I'm not a fan that they killed off Joey Kincaid and Kristin like that, but I do feel for the other cast to grow and become their movie, they had to do that. Who's your favorite in the cast?
It was a necessary killing, even though I would have loved to see Kincaid continue. Kincaid's one of my
Kincaid should have kicked Freddy's ass.
Oh yeah,
but
at least a little bit more.
The whole movie is based upon passing the torch to Alice.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question, Nate,
Yeah.
especially for you and Seth, since Jared hates the Elm Street movies.
I do not hate them.
I know, I'm just messing around.
They are low on my totem pole, but I do not hate them.
So, do you think? I always thought this to myself. Do you think Nancy would have liked Alice? Like, do you think could you imagine those two in the same movie? Like, Kristin is great and everything, but I love Alice is my favorite character in Elm Street other than Nancy.
Kristin in Dream Warriors is not too different from Alice. She
Right.
seemed a little bit like a basket case, a little bit.
Yeah, I guess do that.
I think she would have been motherly towards Alice.
Yeah.
I think she would have stood up to her father. I think she would have gave her father her 2 cents.
Yeah, I just saw the bowl slam on the table and think about how fed up I am watching you drink your life away and taking it out on me.
I remember I brought it up on the show that when we had Lisa on, that Lisa auditioned for Rachel in Halloween 4 and Ellie Cornell auditioned for Alice Johnson in Nightmare 4.
I'm glad it worked out the way it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because Ellie Cornell was fantastic in Halloween as Rachel.
Yeah.
I don't think I could see Lisa doing that, even though
I was gonna say Lisa. I don't think I can. I couldn't see either roles crossed just by the actresses. But I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen I haven't seen her in anything else other than playing Alice.
Yeah, I know she's in a few indie horror flicks coming up in the next year or so, but other than that, I don't. Yeah,
she's she was big in Star Trek. I didn't watch Star Trek, but I know she's big in that.
Here was I.
Yeah, I saw a trailer of a movie she just did recently.
The House That Eats the Flesh.
Maybe that's it. Where she's very the villain of the thing.
Yeah, and she was almost unrecognizable in that.
Yeah.
And I saw a closer look. I was like, holy shit. She's probably a better actress than what people give her credit for. I like her. I'll never forget when I met her either. Jared, you were there.
Yes.
How nervous was I?
You were like a schoolgirl going to prom.
Man, I was shaking. I was like, oh my God, it's Lisa Wilcox. Amanda Wiss was right there too from Elm Street 1,
Yeah, I was gonna say you did that with Amanda too.
Yeah, well, she was the icebreaker for me. And then she recognized me because I follow her on Instagram, and she recognized sure. She's like, oh, the Horror Syndicate. I've heard of you guys. I'm like, yes, awesome. And then I met Tuesday night also at that show. So pretty awesome getting to meet your heroes. No, they're heroes to me, I guess. So what about the rest of the cast? I asked who your favorite character is, other than Alice, because obviously that's the best character in this one, I think.
As far as the new kids go, I mean, I liked Sheila a lot. I wish we got a little more with Sheila. I did like Debbie. I mean, I like Debbie's strength. I like, there's not a weak character in there.
Hey, yo, Needle Dick.
I mean, Danny's not really fleshed out, but he's kind of a tag along character in the movie.
I like Dan, but yeah, like, and then he gets knocked off at the beginning of the next movie.
Yeah,
he gets the Kincaid treatment because he's the first one that gets killed. Kincaid's the first one to die. Right? Yeah, he is, because that's when Freddy comes back. Yeah. So what about you, man? You got quiet. You mad at me for picking on you?
No, my internet's been very glitchy.
You sound good now.
Yeah, like what happens is you guys get really glitchy on my computer, and I've been keeping track of the internet thing. So if I'm silent, it's because of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like all the characters. I think it's, it was. I have two minds of this, because part of me wishes that at least maybe Kincaid lasted until maybe close to the third act or something like that,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was necessary because obviously the Dream Warriors were strong. They defeated Freddy because they were together, and Freddy needed to knock them off. Like he teases Kristin when she says that they beat him before. He says, well, now you're all alone.
yeah.
So he intentionally separated them in order to get her, and she passed on her power and all that. But so it was necessary for it to progress, but I do kind of wish that Kincaid lasted longer, because I really like that character.
Same.
Besides Alice, he's probably one of my favorite characters in the franchise, and as far as like the other, the thing is like, it's kind of weird with Elm Street 3 being so complex with some of the characters and what's going on with them, and then Elm Street 4 is pretty simple. So there's not really much to any of the characters. Dan's just a new kid in town who doesn't know this stuff, and like you said, he's just hanging around, and you don't really get to know much of the other.
He's the new hot stud on the block.
Yeah, and they focused on their little ticks, like the phobia of the bugs, or Sheila making her device, stuff like that
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sorority Babes. That's the Slime Bolorama. Awesome movie.
But honestly, the characters weren't that bad, despite the fact that they didn't have a finalized shooting script before doing this. Like I watched this movie, and to me it seems like they did have a final draft. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
the characters were likable enough.
I also like that this one got, like, the last movie was pretty much all at the sanitarium or whatever it's called. This one, we got back to high school life and seeing the teens deal with it in the real world rather than as a group thing. Like, they all had something wrong with them. Like in Dream Warriors, every one of them was seeing Freddy, and they knew that. This one, like, he was using Alice basically to get to every one of them, and I like that a little bit more than everybody sees this guy. It's we all have this problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of strengths to Dream Warriors, though, with the fact that it did have a completely different setting. It wasn't just doing the same thing.
More so than any other movie, too. Dream Warriors.
Yeah. Like Dream Warriors, like, I mean, I know that we were talking about Dream Master here, but in terms of story, characters, theme, and lore, like Dream Warriors is the Empire Strikes Back of the Elm Street franchise in a lot of ways, and it's very complex and it's fun and everything. I just prefer Elm Street 4 more. But
does that make Freddy's Dead: The Last Jedi?
Oh my fucking god!
I'm sorry.
The Rise of Skywalker. How about that?
Or was that scene where like Breckenmeyer saves a bunch of horses and shit? But
Right. Yeah.
No, but I definitely don't disagree with Seth though. Like they did throw a lot into part 3 to make you think about stuff, because they gave Freddy a background story. Like they all tied it up in a nice little bow for everybody at the end of this one on part 3, and then it just continues on.
That's another great thing with this franchise too, though, is like, especially with with all of them, each film feels different from one another. They each have their own identity with, in terms of the way they look or feel, or even with story and plot points.
So, something I was thinking about. There's certain movies or certain moments that are like a time machine. Like I immediately feel like I felt then, or there's something that taps into like 1988 for me. And so this movie, like when I watch it, especially that opening title or opening sequence with the Nightmare song playing, I can remember watching that in the theater, and the whole chalk drawing and the song playing and the credits, and like that first hit of the note where the New Line Cinema logo pops up, and those little things give me chills. They take me right back to being 12 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And like I was watching the MTV special because I have it on Blu-ray or DVD.
You do?
Earlier. Yeah, someone found it at a convention and bought it for me and gave it to me.
That's cool.
And it's like they have the TV spot, which you can go look at this online, but the TV spot for Nightmare 4. And I remember watching that over and over and over. But I remember the beginning of it's like the shot where Kristin's going up to the house, and it says, how long has it been since you were on Elm Street? And I remember that vividly at that time. And then the very end, they have a different take of him saying, how sweet fresh meat.
Mm-hmm.
And the credits and all that pop up over him. And it's a different take. It's more subtle. It's more like a, how sweet fresh meat. And he's holding the chain. He's got the chain instead in his hand. He's got the glove. And it's just a different delivery. And he's laughing after it, and I remember that. I remember watching that as a 12-year-old kid on TV, watching that, and it just takes me right back there. And there are moments like that in some films, and this one has that. I guess because it was so exciting. It was such a life-changing. I mean, I may not be in the horror industry if it weren't for those movies.
Yeah.
I may have just stuck with comic books or something. I may have never picked up Horror Hound magazine and wrote them or anything. I may still be doing my comics. But when I met Robert, I told him, I was like, you're the reason I do what I do. And his wife Nancy says, we're sorry. But I was so emotional after meeting him that first time. It was 2010, and I had never felt that. I've met tons of celebrities, and as soon as I walked away, I started feeling overwhelmed because he was so nice. He's such a nice guy. Like, you will not be disappointed meeting Robert Englund. And he was so complimentary towards my artwork. I gave him artwork. And
what'd you give him?
I don't remember what it was then, but I've met him a few times. But that first time, I was at Flashback in Chicago. And I actually had to go sit down and collect myself for a minute. I told my wife, I need to sit down. I was about to just start bawling. There was just something about meeting Robert Englund, because these films meant so much at an important part of my life. And, to have him be so wonderful and giving to his fans and so positive to his fans and everything, you really can't ask for more than that.
I'm scared to meet him. I wanted to, when Jared and I went to the first Horror Hound that we went to, I wanted to meet him so bad, but the lines were stupid long, and it just wasn't going to happen.
I think part of it was the long line, because I was exhausted because I had to drive all to Chicago. I'd worked all night. I'd been up all day. I had no sleep. I got there. I had to get there early to buy the tickets, and I had to stand in line for 2 hours to get the tickets and 2 hours to meet him. So by then, I was up for 36 hours straight or something.
Jesus.
But I think part of it was that. But I know his price has gone way up. But really, if you're a Nightmare fan, Freddy fan, he's worth the money. He's worth the wait.
Yeah, I have to do it because everybody's getting so old. But,
I was gonna say, before you know it, they're gonna be gone. So,
I was at a convention. I saw Romero, and the next year he was gone, and I never got to meet him. But I saw Heather Langenkamp in 2018 at Days of the Dead, and I don't think I was supposed to, but I gave her a hug, and I felt weird. I didn't feel weird, but I've said flat out, she was one of my earliest heroes, from seeing Elm Street. She what she went through with Freddy and how she can, and then of course the second movie, the third movie. But like I remember hugging her and I was like, I love you so much. And my son taps me on the back, are you supposed to hug her? I'm like, I don't know, I had to. It was like a reaction, you know, like I had to hug her.
Too late now.
That was a starstruck moment for me meeting Heather.
Yeah.
I remember as I met Lisa, Amanda, and Heather were together. It was 2010, same year, and I think I met Lisa or Amanda first, but I went to see Heather, and I'm standing there in line with my wife, and Heather, like I'm next, but Heather's so nice, she's such a sweetheart. I've been able to talk to her several times, and I remember like getting giddy and nervous, and like my wife's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "That's Nancy," like I was like such a kid, like that's Nancy Thompson, Like I don't usually do that, but I was that way with her. Her, Robert, I think John Carpenter.
Here's me and her and Reynolds.
People that got me really kind of starstruck.
That's me and Nancy. I'll never forget that. I know you got a picture with like everybody from Dream Master, don't you, with your dad?
Yeah, one with my dad. It's Robert, Lisa, Tuesday, Brooke Bundy that played the mom.
Yeah.
Danny, Andres, and I think Ken may have been with them. But I'm like pretty good friends with Ken Sagos at this point. Like I've done work with him and acted with him. I've done some things. So he's the guy who gives me a big bear hug when I see him.
Yeah, I like Ken.
I was telling Lily today, I was like, do you remember hanging out with Ken? He was asking about your LPSs because she was on the Little's Pet Shops, and we were just hanging out hours before a show. And he was watching her play and talking about her toys. And but he's a really awesome dude. But, I mean, to be a cool character and a cool human being as well.
Yeah, that was one of the favorite shows from that year for us. Is when we had Ken on the show. He was a lot of fun to talk to. He had a lot of stories too, man. I'm trying to find the link so I can share that with everybody in the chat. That anybody wants to check it out when we talk to Ken Sagos.
If you're a Nightmare fan, we've talked to Mark Patton and Ken Sagos and Lisa Wilcox.
Yeah.
I don't know if we got anybody else. I got to do a panel with him. I was a moderator for Ken and Rodney Eastman, Joey, and they really do have a bond. They were funny together. They were really. There's pictures of us together on stage, and like you can see Ken's expressions towards Rodney. I mean, just they were fun together, and they really are good buddies.
Yeah, if you need to, there's what it looks like. That's when we had talked to Ken Sagos, and then we got a lot of episodes. Sasha Jensen, that was fun too.
That was a great episode because he talked about growing up in Hollywood in
the
70s and 80s. His dad was a stuntman. Was friends with Peck and Paul. Good friends with Josh Brolin growing up. He wanted to double for Josh Brolin back then because they kind of looked alike.
I could see that. I don't remember what. Oh, there's Lisa Wilcox.
There's Mark.
And there's Mark's.
There's Mark's on there too.
Yeah.
So all these are.
They were all within a couple weeks of each other.
Forgot about the promo. This is the COVID promo that we had that she asked us to play with all the Elm Street stars. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then where's Mark?
He was right below her.
But did I lose track here?
There it is.
Oh, there it is, right there. Yeah, we got to talk to him. We got to talk to guys who made his documentary.
Yeah, Roman and Tyler were on the week before.
Roman and Tyler, yeah. I want to get Roman and Tyler back on sometime. Those two were a fucking hoot.
Yeah.
A hoot and a half.
I would definitely be down to having them on again.
Yeah. But yeah, check those videos out if you've never seen them before. Our YouTube channel is chock full of all kinds of good stuff. And we haven't had a guest like I think Nathan Henneman, I think that's how you say his name, from the Horror Hound, was the last guest we had. So
Maybe.
we will be having Luke Hardiman on the show very soon. Going to show off some of his art, and maybe we'll get another person, maybe another indie filmmaker. Anyway, here's the link to go watch the Kinsegos. All right, we're about 10 minutes from the end of the show. We didn't. I think we've done a lot here today. What do you guys think? Want to do some final thoughts?
Why not?
Okay. Don't answer it all at once, okay?
Never.
Jared, you go first. Final thoughts on Elm Street 4.
I'm not a fan. Just kidding. No, I do like it better than a lot of the sequels. Obviously, Dream Wars is my 100. That is my baby. But Part 4 is a good sequel to keep the story going. Obviously, we didn't have Patricia Arquette because she wanted to become a dramatic actress at that point. She wanted to flex her wings a little bit. But Tuesday Night gave us a really good performance, I think. It had some really original deaths, like we've already discussed. But to me, it stands at number 3 behind Part 3. Part
enough.
2 will be my number 4. And, I mean, I don't... That's for other reasons, but yes. So in my top 4, it's 1, 3, 4, 2.
I can deal with that. 2 is really good. 2 is underrated. 2 is one that a lot of people shit on too. I don't know why. That's maybe. Did we ever do an episode on 2? I'm not saying we should do it right away, but maybe we should have words on 2, because 2 is way better than what people give it credit for. I mean, Dr. Loomis approves. So, Seth, how about you? Some final thoughts?
Well, before my final thoughts, I just want to point out.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Just want to point out it's interesting that 2 of us like 4, and 2 of us like 3, and it's same thing with Friday 4 and 6. There's 2 and 2.
It is.
Me and Nate are on the same page.
Yep.
That's why we're up top.
Anyway,
Damn it.
yeah, Elm Street 4 is the one that I always go to. I think it's a lot of fun. It's very fast paced. Just watching it last night with my friend. When you get to the church, when we got to the church scene, I looked at my friend and I said, "Didn't we just see Kincaid die 20 minutes ago?" I mean, that's how fast
it's
goes.
fast.
Yeah,
Yes, it is. Yeah.
The pacing is really solid. Like I said in the beginning, the direction and the visual style of it is very energetic, and it's just, for me, it's just a lot of fun. And it's like, for me personally, it's like probably the most rewatchable horror movie. I at least watch this like once every week or once every 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And it doesn't
That pace has a lot to do with that too.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. It's just pure fun, and I understand where Dream Warriors, I think, is probably technically better in a lot of areas, but for me personally, Part 4 is the one that I will always go to.
Rewatchability wise,
yeah,
makes sense.
And I just think it looks a little better visually too.
I agree.
And that's not to say anything negative against Dream Warriors, because honestly, we all agreed the first 4 are amazing movies. But yeah, that's my final thoughts. It's one of my favorite horror movies to rewatch.
Same here. It's my comfort movie. Nathan.
Yeah. I didn't think about that one scene I do really love. It's really cool. It's practical. It's, of course, everything was practical. The truck hit.
Oh yeah.
It's an amazing thing. I talked to Mick Strawn about how they did that. I think they just kind of had a chain to the front end of it, and they just drove it and did that. But I was like, "So did you know that was going to work?" He goes, "Of course I knew it was going to work." He goes, It wouldn't do it. It wouldn't have worked any other way. You know, he's a fun guy to talk to. I think I could probably get Mick on here probably very easily because I mean that would be cool because he's got tons of stories. He'll talk your head off.
No, we should do that sometime. That'd be cool.
But yeah, like I said, these first 4 movies are so close to my heart. Like I saw them all, the first 4 movies, all within probably a week or 2 or 3 of each other. Completely consuming. I mean, that's one cool thing. Like, it's cool to be there in the beginning, but there's something exciting, like when you discover something.
I just wanted to.
Sorry, my bad.
When you discover something and then you realize, oh shit, there's like 4 others, or there's 3 others, or there's 2 more. Like, so now I got to see the rest of them. So, you know, it was really exciting to have 4 movies, even though I couldn't watch 4 all the time because it was in theaters at the time. But I think that's why I watched the MTV thing over and over because that clips from part 4. And then shortly after that, we got the TV show Freddy's Nightmares, which wasn't great, but
no, it wasn't.
If you were going to become a Freddy fan, 1988 was a pretty good year because there was a whole lot to consume. Because that's really the height of his popularity. Really, he was everywhere. He was in rap music and music videos and metal.
He was in the Will Smith song "Nightmare on My Street." The Fat Boys did a song.
Nightmare on My Street.
Houdini did a song for.
He did not get slapped by Will Smith either.
Houdini in part 5. Yeah, and
we didn't even mention Vinnie Vincent's Invasion. That song.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should talk about the Vinnie Vincent's Invasion because "Love Kills" is a fucking great song. Really
I think it's better than Dream
Warriors.
Yeah, I fucking love that. I have that in rotation, so I got a couple Nightmare songs on my phone. Those songs come up, especially "Love Kills."
Well, those opening guitar licks on both of those songs, again, immediate time machine. When you hear ding 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 ding, you know, like it's Dream Warriors. And when you hear that opening "Love Kills,"
you barely get to hear it in the movie too.
Yeah.
That could be a fun episode on its own. It might be a short episode, but like all the different songs throughout the franchise. Goo Goo Dolls in Freddy's Dead.
That's the best Goo Goo Dolls songs ever.
Soundtrack,
Iggy Pop, man. That's probably the best part of Freddy's Dead is that montage at the end of Iggy Pop.
Freddy's Dead.
Oh, at the very end, yeah.
Why?
Born in this world.
I love that. Which one is it that ends with the Kumo D song? Where is it part 5?
Part 5. I think it's part 5.
Where it ends with Kumo D just shitting on LL Cool J. You said that rivalry.
It's part 5. Yeah. By the way, this is the link to Vinnie Vincent Invasion. The Love Kills. Listen to it. Or don't.
And you got the video. You got Vinny dressed up like Freddy with the glove on, and probably the best thing Mark Slaughter ever did. Isn't he the singer of Vinnie Vincent?
I have no idea.
You remember the band Slaughter?
What is it? Him? Is that the guy from Slaughter for real?
Slaughter singing for Vinnie Vincent.
I had no idea.
Sleep all day.
Jared's gonna get a shutdown at the end of the episode.
No, my octaves are not the same, so they're not gonna shut us down.
We'll try to do Dream Warriors like that, dude. That can't.
I'm not singing.
Vinnie Vincent's the guitarist. I didn't know that.
He was a guitarist for Kiss.
Was he?
Back in the 80s.
Shows what I know.
Not the original, of course, that Ace Frehley, but he was he was in Kiss.
That song, man, I'm gonna listen to it right when we get off the air because I fucking love it so much. It's the perfect song for this movie, in my opinion. Anyway, sorry, Nate.
Got the same vibe that Dream Warriors has. I mean, it really does have. It just fits Nightmare on Elm Street really well.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 songs are perfect, and Tuesday's song is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It sets the tone for this movie.
Yeah, Mark Slaughter, you're right. Holy shit. I have no idea. All right. Anything else you want to add to Nate? We do. I have a whole episode on why we look fucking shit. It's got the most views out of all of our videos on YouTube.
We
it's got
made a legit Blu-ray release of this franchise.
Yeah, like fucking today. Like Scream Factory just released last year or 2 years ago the Friday the 13th set. Let's do Nightmare. Come on, Warner Brothers. Quit being assholes.
They've done Halloween. They've done Friday.
You need to do the big three.
Why not? Get on it.
So I'm going to finish up by saying I absolutely adore this movie. I watch it way more than I should. Not as much as Seth over here, though. I got to get my numbers up. I got these rookie numbers going on. But I love it. I adore it. I watched it immediately after the show the other night, and I watched the Never Sleep Again doc, and I looked up watched the trailers and stuff. Because the trailers, man, like Nate was talking about, watching the trailers took me right back to being 8 years old and getting excited for this movie and giving me the chills, like full body goosebumps. You know, I love that, and I love the look on Jared's face when he's moving the mustache around. Anyway, I love it. This is definitely. I want to thank you guys for letting us talk about this on the anniversary show for the Horror Syndicate. Overall, DIscourse has been around. This is its 3rd year, but the Horror Syndicate overall has been around 6 years. So thank you for letting me talk about my favorite Elm Street sequel. And this isn't my top 50 horror movies of all times, by the way. That's my personal list of how I like movies. It's in the top 50. It's in the top 5. So sue me.
Oh, Poster.
What's
Poster.
that?
Poster's amazing.
It's the best poster. It's behind me. It's on my wall in my bedroom. I think that poster's got me lucky before. So anyway, that's it. Next week we have Luke. Do you want to be on the show next week? You want to just do that next week? We've got a request to do the Lost Boys, but I'm going to have a special guest that day, and we'll do that whenever we can. But Luke is going to be on either next week or the week after that, whenever we can figure it out. If not, we'll figure out. Okay, so Luke's going to be on next week. Just got to figure out what movie to talk about. He gave me 3 options. One of them I can't do, but the fucking one he mentioned last week, I can't remember what it's called.
Kill List.
Yeah. But he also mentioned Bone Tomahawk, which I've never seen, and he mentioned.
You haven't seen Bone Tomahawk yet?
I own it, but I've never seen it.
Oh my god!
You think I would have seen it because I love Kurt Russell, so I kind of want to do that one so I can watch it and.
That's actually a really good one.
Have you guys seen it?
Yeah, that guy's a fantastic filmmaker. I like all the movies.
Patrick Wilson's really good in it too.
Patrick Wilson's in it too.
Yeah.
And
kind of plays a white bitch in it.
Dude from The Lost. What's the guy? What's his name? The guy from Lost and
the dude from Lost is in it.
Matthew Fox and also Richard Jenkins. Isn't he in it? I know you don't know who Richard Jenkins.
It's got a really good cast.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do that. Seth, do you have the ability to watch that movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so next week we'll talk about Bone Tomahawk. There we go. It's settled. Luke will be on. We're going to show off his art. He's doing a horror coloring book. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I did. So sorry, Luke.
He's looking at his stack.
Look at the collection. Go cop a squad over there and see what
good eyesight.
Yeah, can you see all the way over there?
Where you get your glasses?
Yeah, no shit. Bionic eyes.
I'm really Kryptonian. This is just guys.
Like a wide angle lens, and that's really
his name is actually behind you. So Bone Tomahawk next week.
Long wind.
I'm working on a documentary at the moment. Okay, Luke's going to come on, talk to us about what he's doing. Going to share where you can find all his art. Luke, I need you to send me a bunch of art. He did some characters of all of us that one of these days I'll get colored and make a thing out of it. So Jared's profile picture is that right now. Luke is an awesome guy. He's like I said earlier, he slits his wrist for the Horror Syndicate. He loves us that much. I think maybe he just loves me, but anyway. Thanks for a great 6 years, everybody. Let's keep going with the Horror Syndicate. It's not going anywhere until Seth says so. I want to thank Keith for, even though he's not here, we miss you, Keith. We hope you're doing well. I want to thank everybody who's been a part of the Horror Syndicate: Morgan, Richard, Brian, Jenny, all those people. I'm not going to name everybody because there's like 30 people. And I want to thank Nathan Thomas Milner because I got to send him a check. I want to thank Sethy. And my boy Jared, my firstborn. It's a boy. Woo-hoo! Anyway, have a great night. We'll see you next week with all new episode. Seth got something to say.
Are we gonna get paid for this or?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
absolutely
just check.
Not.
All right.
Thanks for the thing. Congrats. Anyway, have a great night. We'll see you next week. Bone Tomahawk. Watch that to get prepared to talk about a movie, and we will see you later. Goodbye.